Okay. Let's try this again. See if I can't keep it under 20 minutes. So I was on the train home and I got into a fight. And I was sitting here thinking about what I should have done differently, because there was a lot of things that went into me wanting to justify getting into a fight. And there were other people present. The fight occurred on a train platform, and I had a number of people come up afterwards and tell me that I didn't do anything wrong, that I was, perfectly right and okay and all of this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, I wasn't justified. I could have avoided violence. But there was a moment where I made a choice. Where I knew that I could have said nothing and been fine, or say something and violence would be the result. And I chose to say something because I wanted violence. It was my choice. I chose to take the opportunity to de-escalate and be the adult, and instead do the opposite. And it got me thinking, because I am trained and experienced in fighting hand to hand in various forms and situations. And I know what I am capable of. I had consciously earlier made the choice not to get involved in another violent situation that I saw occurring, and wanted to get involved in. But I tempered myself then. And when the opportunity presented itself more directly later, in the form of some young punk about whom it was easy for me to make a snap judgment based on his reactions to his misperceptions, my opinion led me to make a conscious choice that led to physical violence and through that physical violence, the very real possibility I may have caused harm. Because at one point, I stuck both of my thumbs in both of his eyes, and I just started pushing. And reflecting on it has me thinking about power and the ability to project power and force and violence. And it really feels like a microcosm of events in the Middle East right now, because Israel is me. And Israel has the right and the responsibility to protect itself and its citizens. And there's a very valid debate and discussion about borders and how much territory, Israel should have versus how much, the Palestinians should have. And it's a complicated issue, but it's not as complicated as people want it to be. And it's also beside the point right now, because the other guy that I got into a fight with is Hamas. And Israel, like me, has a right and a responsibility to protect itself. But in protecting itself, there needs to be a maturity. There needs to be a measuredness. And Israel has chosen at every opportunity to escalate when they are the ones in power. And I will never justify anything that Hamas has done when it comes to the atrocities that they've committed. Just like there is no justification for the person I got into a fight with swinging on me first. But at the same time, I could have taken steps to de-escalate the situation beforehand. And then, when the fight did happen, I did take the first opportunity I could to break it off. And words were still exchanged after that. And I was wrong for the things that I said. I didn't say anything racist. I didn't say anything, and anything like that. Nothing offensive. But I still continued to inflame the situation. And I didn't start any violence. And by that point, I think that the individual realized that further attacks were not going to go the way that he thought they were going to go. And he left. But I also let him leave. Part of me didn't want to. He basically asked me if I wanted to keep going. And I told him, I want to say I told him something along the lines of it was up to him, but I honestly don't remember what I said. I just remember that I said something and I shouldn't have. And that's what's important. I should not have said anything. Just like I shouldn't have said anything before. And Israel right now has an opportunity to do the same. They have the responsibility to measure their response to Hamas. And what they are doing in Gaza and in Palestine is unjustifiable, just as my behavior was. It is the responsibility of the powerful not to use power and not to use force when it can be avoided. And I think that's something I need to reflect on. I think that's something that we as a society need to reflect on, because people were coming up to me and telling me I was justified and telling me the other guy was crazy and telling me all of this stuff to make me feel better about it. But the fact of the matter is, those people were wrong. And those people are countries like the United States. and the other nations that are empowering Israel and justifying Israel. And they are wrong. It is Israel's responsibility to avoid violence any more than is absolutely necessary for self-defense. What they are doing in Gaza, in Palestine, is indefensible. It is not measured. It is not responsible. It is not mature. And we all need to think about that. I'm going to. While I do that, y'all take it easy, stay groovy, be excellent to each other, keep it metal. Deuces.